Good day everyone. Today is a hot day and yet I'm gonna do some work on the car. Let me just tell you one thing. I'm doing this work for one simple reason, because I'm gonna go on a trip around Europe. Let's call it like this. So much better here. So I'm gonna go on a trip around Europe. So the trip is London to Berlin. What I'm about to do is, because it's a long trip, I want a bit more comfort, and the comfort I'm looking for is in the springs department, simply because I've got lowering springs on the original shocks, my original shocks. Anyway, let me show you what I'm about to fit into the car. Today on the menu we have a new lower arms, two in there, two fronts, two rear springs. They've just been sitting in the garage for a while. This is two new front shock absorbers. There you go. This is a new EBC pads, even though I have changed my pads not so long ago. I've got red EBCs, but they're squeaking like hell, and I've got, I'm not sure if you can see it, there's a lip, slight little lip, nothing serious, but slight little lip. Oh, by the way, I'm painting the calipers because you can see it's just brand new calipers. Put some paint on it and the paint just came off. Anyway, so I was thinking, do I put new discs and old pads? But I've got this already sitting, so I thought I'll just put new discs and new pads. This particular discs are actually, I think I opened it before. Right, drilled and grooved. Actually, the same thing as the old ones. Yes, so I've got new discs for the front only. I've got EBC yellow. By the way, that's the code 57, also running the same pads. Anyway, discs, pads, new discs, new pads, new shocks, new lower arms, standard stock soft springs. The rear, I'm putting standard springs on, nothing else changes, but I will try also fit a new white line anti-roll bar. That's the code, the 2-point adjustable. It is thicker than standard. I've got one on the front already. It made a difference. To make it better, I'll fit the one in the on the rear, but also it'll make a difference because I'm on a stock spring, so that cornering wobbly because it's too soft. That's actually one of the reasons why I went for I'm not sure if you can see it. You can just about see it's red. It's a Direnza lowering springs on the standard shocks. Also later, probably tomorrow, I don't think I'll be able to do today, new oil filter, two at the rear fuel filters, and I think that will be it. I think that'll be good to go for the European trip. What else? That's it. Hey, I completely forgot to mention that the front shock absorbers and then lower arms, not lowering arms. That's the lower arms, and that's the front shock absorbers. They're actually from Gen 1, so a previous Chrysler, which is up to 2011 if I'm not mistaken. From 2011, possibly 2012. From upwards from there, 11 plus, it's a Gen 2, which is what my car is. It's a Gen 2. But trying to find Gen 2 lower arms and front shocks. Well, it's not even the lower arms. Lower arms I have found as a whole kit. A whole kit of front arms available on the internet. All the front, top arm, bottom arm, front control arm, everything as a kit. 250 quid. The whole kit for the Gen 2. But you can't find cheap enough front shock absorbers. Front shocks for the Gen 1 for 110, 120 quid, no problem, you'll find them. For the Gen 1, what am I saying? Hold on. I just want to put it as a comparison. Gen 1 front shocks 110, 120 pounds. Gen 2 front shocks 110, 120 pound each. You see the difference? The only difference in Gen 1 and Gen 2 shocks is that it has lower arms, bush slightly bigger, so you can't fit Gen arm, lower arm on a Gen 2 shock. But if you running a Gen 1 lower arm and the Gen 1 shock absorbers, then they fit together. And as far as I know, and I had the Gen 1 before, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because I had the Gen 1 before, I know exactly what the suspension setup is on the Gen 1, and the Gen 2 is identical apart from two bushes. Two bushes, one is on the control arm and one is a lower arm. They're slightly bigger. That's all. The rest of the whole setup is identical. Gen 1, Gen 2, same shit. Lowering springs, this particular ones right now is from Gen 1. Gen 1 Direnza 30 or 35, 30 mil lowering springs. I mean, the drop is quite nice. You can just about see. Very, very, very nice drop, but nevertheless, the idea is to keep it in the budget, trying to cut the cost in a way, but at the same time, if it fits, why not, right? Let's see. To let you know exactly what I'm talking about the bush. This is the bush. So this is the one that sits further inside the car. This is further outside where the shock absorber sits. This is where the ball joint sticking out and it sits. So the difference between the Gen 1 and Gen 2, all of this is the same, this is the same, this is the same, but this on a Gen 2 is slightly wider. So you can see Gen 1 arm, Gen 1 shock, perfect fitment. On the Gen, let me put the light on, there you go. On the Gen 2, this bush slightly thicker by an extra 1 finger on each side. It's about an inch thicker, and obviously the thicker bottom part of the shock. That is to last longer, I suppose, because the little bushes don't last as long. On the previous car, Gen 1, in the 6.5 years I had the car, I changed 3 of this. So one is a single arms, one is a kit, and the second time I think it was a kit as well. So the main thing is that smaller bush don't last as long, bigger bush last longer. First things first, wheels off, jacked it up, secure it. Right, then I got penetrating specialist WD-40. I'm gonna just spray everything, every little bolt nut that I might need to undo, and front, this side, that side. So let me show you what I've done so far. So it's all secure. I took the caliper, 2 13mm there, which is them two. Then I took the caliper bracket off, them two, which is 21. And then I take, so caliper on the side, taking the disc off. The disc, you can just about see, I'm not sure if you can see, there is a lip on it. Yes, it's a good idea to change it. The spacer adapter, to be precise, is off, and then the disc off. Slightly rusted inside and all. Definitely a good idea. I have a new set of hubs for the front, but I'm not going to change them as yet. There you can see a white line anti-roll bar with the pulley bushes, which I probably going to change. Not probably, will definitely try to change them for a standard bushes. These bushes, no matter how much I clean them and lubricate them, put a grease on them, they squeak like hell. I had enough. Every 3 months I gotta put lube on them. Come on, shouldn't be like this. Right, I'm not sure if you can see it. No, half of the part number is gone. Lowering springs there, as you can see, from Gen 1. So at this particular situation, at this particular setup, what I want to use is just the top mount. I have in front new shocks and standard springs I'm going to be putting on the front standard shocks. And this is the arm that I want to change. This arm on the Gen 2, this bush is the one that's bigger. You can see the massive opening for the shock absorber. So right now the next thing is undo the link, undo this bar, undo the 3 bolts on the top of the shock absorber. Let's see if it's moving. Then undo the plastic on the tray, which is this one. Take this off, drop the whole anti-roll bar to get to the bolt that goes straight through to this arm. You can see the nut on this side is easily accessible, but the bolt itself, you need to take the tray off, take the cover off, lower the anti-roll bar to get to it. That's what I'm about to do. While I'm doing the anti-roll bar, I'll change the bushes. So my battery is dying, but I thought I'll make a video anyway. Anti-roll bar dropped, that's undone, that is undone, but I didn't take it out completely, just holding on. That bolt there was a pain in the ass. 21 from this side, and I had to jam this side, that kind of end in there. Not 100% correct tool, but slight angle holding it, which is the main thing. 21, undone that bolt. I'm just about to take it out. This too is holding on one just in case. That one is undone, but I didn't take it out, just waiting. So I'm going to take that out, take this one out, the whole thing drops. This one, I did manage to take it out, so I'm going to do it slightly differently. So I managed to take this arm, this bolt out. Oh, this was the major one. Don't put the light on. This was the major one. As you can see, I've got off-centric, so the adjustable kind of thing. You can twist it this way, that way. Whew, I'm tired. Right, I undone this arm without taking this bolt off. The way I've done it, loose this one, drop, just pull it down on it, the other one comes out. Now what you can see here, this is Gen 2, this is Gen 1. Gen 2 comes with a centric bush, comparing to the Gen 1 has a hole like this. Let me switch on the light, and you can see the teeth inside. If you have a special bolt that has like a groove inside, you turn it to create a camber. This one this one comes already cambered. It's only sitting on one side, you can't adjust it. And you need, sorry, you don't need, it comes with a standard bolt with no groove in it. This is a pain in the ass. Right, so this was here. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put it in the middle, because, well, I have no other choice. It's going to sit in the middle, not extra camber or whatever, as is supposed to be on a Gen 1. Well, on a Gen 1 it's supposed to be special bolt. Anyway, I don't think it's going to make a crazy amount of difference, but this is what it is. The actual arms themselves, the length, the whole thing is identical. It looks like this one is slightly bigger, but I'm just wondering, is it because of the bush or what? Let me put one on top of another. It's not going to sit on top of another. Right, the holes line up, and the holes line up down here. As you can see, this one is slightly different. Oh, look at that. If the holes line up, that one is slightly lower. Well, actually no, it's going to be like this. That's inside, that's where the shock sits. That is the old one, Gen 2 is slightly higher, the Gen 1 is slightly lower. Interesting. Well, let me put it all together. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what it's going to look like. I'm officially struggling. And struggling I am. Right. I'm officially struggling. Right. I noticed that I need the rod ends. But it's okay, because later I'm doing wheel alignment, and I'm going to change inner rods, outer rods. I even bought the new boots. Right, so new arm in, new shock in, spring is the original one in, everything lined up. I made sure that that is on that side, 3 bolts facing this side, no problem, everything's fine. The only issue is that bush on the older one is slightly narrower on the new Gen 2 inner bush, slightly narrower. On the Gen 1 it's slightly bigger, so I used them little boys, filed it in. It fits perfectly. But the problem I have is, because I didn't undo this bolt and made the whole thing nice and easy, I'm struggling to fit all this freaking thing in. But why I did not undo this bolt? Simply because when I had a 22-inch wheels, I had to shave this bolt a little bit. Because I shaved this bolt a little bit, I can't put no Allen key in there, and if I put the gun on it and trying to undo it, it's twisting. The whole thing is twisting, literally, and I can't hold on to that freaking thing. So I'm trying to grab on and pull this together. It's not working out with this thing here. Next thing would be, say, forget about it and just drop the arm, this arm down, and just undo it. It sounds easy. In theory, it's a pain in the ass, because you can only push on this down as much. Anyway, I did it. Now I'm putting everything back on. So I'm kind of still struggling with it. I found another issue. Right, so that bolt is now in, this bolt is now in, and I thought I'll just tighten it up. This nut is not on yet, it's touching this nut, so which is where's the other nut? This is it. Let's see if I can put that on. What is wrong with this fucking thing? Right, that's gonna go on nicely. It's not touching anyway. Right, the problem I have is this freaking bolt. Right, look how much is sticking out. So obviously on the older one, this starts about here, the shock, because it's slightly wider, so at least a finger of it, like let's say 1 centimeter of the thread, is still on the other side. Right, apart from that it's all good, but this is a new problem. Let me explain what I mean by that. This is still the old system. You can just about see this and this not touching. It's close, but it's not touching, and it's a full lock. Full lock to the left. Maybe there's a little bit still to go, but nevertheless, pretty much full lock. That is not touching. That's the original low arm, original shock with lowering springs. Let me show you this is a new shock, Gen 1, Gen 2 spring, Gen 1 lower arm. Let me show you that bolt. I'm gonna do a full lock to the left. It's not even holding, but nevertheless it's not even full lock, yeah. But check this out, the bolt is touching with the arm. There's no go. That is a new problem. Now, do I cut the bolt off? I don't want to do that. Or do I put the bolt this side, which means this strut will be on that side and that strut will be on this side. That means the head will be on this side and it's going to go straight through that direction. Oh my goodness me. I'm about to throw a towel in and say forget it, can't be bothered anymore. And this is all why, because I'm trying to save money and because I'm slightly let's call it upset. Why on earth is the cost of a Gen 2 like 4 times more than the Gen 1, even though all they've done is upgraded this bush, maybe that bush slightly, this bush, that's it, nothing else has changed. Why is it 4 times more expensive? The bush, that bush, this bush, from, you know, from the same people as they do the Gen 1 stuff, which is mass produced in China. You can still get very nice and polite prices, but no, it's 4 times more expensive. What do I do? So at this particular moment, let me tell you how far I've gone. I fitted the new yellow EBS, as you can see, EBC pads, fitted the new discs. I fitted the stock arm, I fitted the stock original shock absorber back on, but with an older soft springs back on. I used the jack to lift it, then I tightened this bolt and the shock absorber bolt, because the when you tighten them, the rubber would be stretching one way or the other way. Anyway, you know exactly what I mean if you're a professional, even though I'm not professional. I've done that bolt up, I've done that bolt up, I've done that bolt up. I haven't put the anti-roll bar yet because I still got to do the other one. Got this on, got this on, got this on. To the next stage. I'm absolutely knackered. What actually happened is my little idea got stopped by one bolt. If I would have had a bolt that's shorter and designed for a Gen 1 bottom shock absorber bolt, yeah, so I need that bolt to use a Gen 1 parts or Gen 1 lower arm and a Gen 1, excuse me, and a Gen 1 shock absorber, simply because the bolt on the Gen 2 is just really long. So nevertheless, let me show you how far I've gone. So new disc, pads, gonna sand this down right at the end, give it a bit of a spray. I've got a high temperature spray which is for the manifold and exhaust. The exhaust manifold definitely gets hotter than this caliper. I put a bit of grease on it from inside, outside and everything. I'm still gonna put anti-roll bar after I finish with the other side. This side is done. What I'm about to do is compress the springs, take the top off, take the spring off, put the original spring back on the shock. Hopefully this shock is fine, as good as the other one. The old pads, disc, it's not actually as bad as the other one. Sorry, what am I talking about? This one. This one, yeah. The left one, I don't know why, is worse than the right one. So again, I went slightly cheating way. I can't undo this bolt simply because I shaved it because of the 22-inch previously wheels. I undone the bottom arm. I don't even know why I undone that bolt, but because I was doing the other one. Anyway, the arm is dropped, suspension out, it's there. So what I wanted to show you is the spring and the shock is done, everything's back, but I wanted to show you my spacers adapters that I make, and I wanted to make you aware, right, if you don't take the discs and pads, if you don't change them for an extremely long time, they might seize up a little bit on the actual hub part of it, which is a bit here, just a bit here. Apart from that, anything is wrong with the spacer, the adapter itself? No. Yes, they're dirty, it's just an aluminium, nothing is actually physically wrong with them, and they will go back on without any trouble. Just dirt. So after this particular set that I've got with the BBSs, this particular set, no, hold on a second, before I had this particular set on a BMW Fitment 5x120, which was the X5 wheels, 22s, then I went for 20s. So this particular set of adapters, Chrysler to BMW or Chrysler to Range Rover, which is 5x115 to 5x120. I have this now for 3 years, or 3.5 maybe even years, simply because I have car more than 4 years, and I got the wheels in the first 6 months. So I was riding 18s, Then I got the adapters. I had 22s, then I went to 20s. 22s I had for about a year and a half, and this one's I've got about 2 years. So about 3 years at least, maybe 3.5. That's what they look like. Absolutely nothing wrong with them, but they're dirty. That's about it. So let's get, where's the thing? I need to clean up the caliper carrier. Caliper is ready to be fitted with new pads. Let's get that done. So my spring's been in the garage for a couple of years. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them, but apart from dirt. This is the rear anti-roll bar together with new poly bushes. Yes, I don't really like poly bushes because of the constant like every 4 months you need to put the grease on them to make them stop squeaking, but this is summer, should be fine. But during the winter all the dirt and grime from the floor comes up. Right, the anti-roll bar itself is much thicker. Well, by much I mean I think it's 3 mil, maybe I'm mistaken, but this is Gen 1 and then Gen 2 rear anti-roll bar. So is the bushes, so is the springs actually, but never mind. So this is what I'm about to fit. As you can see, the shock absorber is here, had to come out. I'm using 2 jacks just to support it. So what I have done is I undone this one, the subframe bolt, you can see it, it's tight, and I undone that one. That one is actually out. Oh no, that's not subframe bolt, that's a shock absorber bolt. Subframe bolt I think is, yeah, it's still there. I'm not sure if you can see it, it's still there, it's just hanging on that. But that bolt is completely out. This bolt, I undone it, I put it back about 3 turns, so it's holding on, but also holding on the jacks, so I don't want to drop it too far. Right, so what I've done, I wanted to change the springs and I wanted to change the anti-roll bar. By dropping the subframe, what I achieved is I made space to get the anti-roll bar out, the old one. I fitted the new one in. I've done it from this side because this way I undone the 10 mil there, I undone the caliper there. That way I maneuver around. Let me let me position myself correctly. So 10 mil bolt, I undone the caliper. The caliper made me, it was easier for me to go on this side of the bar. I took the springs off. It was more of a push it down, it comes out. Made more space. Shock absorber off, made more space. That way I literally maneuvered it all the way to the other side. Now put the new spring, which is the original stock one, which is what I wanted to do. I'm going to put the shock absorber on now, connect this all up. That's already bolted up. Bolts, two bolts for the caliper, and that's that. Oh, today what I also am going to do is, because I already painted my front a couple of days ago when I was doing my front, I'm going to paint this caliper as well. It's going to be matte black, but it's not going to be rusty and it's not going to be this silver, even though basically it's a brand new calipers. So that's what it is. Let me show you when it's done.